you are all my children. My father called me Noah because it means rest. Fathers don't know everything. I can only begin to share how evil the world was. We ask Elohim, when is evil enough? We ask Elohim, what are you going to do about evil? I am the ninth from Adam, my grandfather, Methuselah, my father, Lamech, my family, my line, are worshipers of Elohim. But it was not so with everyone. The world became so evil, the people in it, that it grieved the heart of Yahweh. He had placed Adam and Eve in a garden. They were perfect. They were without sin. He had made everything for them. Everything that they saw was good. When the world was made, Elohim said, "It is good." And then Adam sinned and was cast out of the garden. And we began to sacrifice. Because without the shedding of blood, there could be no cleansing of sin. And it was not long before Cain murdered Abel for pride, not want, not greed, not fear. Pride. And the sin grew. If a man wanted a woman, he took her. If someone wanted property, they took it and they murdered to get it. we were without restraint. Whatever evil you may think you see, my children, and there is evil, it is within us. But this was a time when the world was so evil, so corrupt, so filled with hate and lust and greed and pride. That the hand of man was not restrained from any evil. And if you want to know what Elohim will do about evil, there is a day when he will say, enough! When I was 480 years old, Elohim spoke and he said, in 120 years, man will be no more. But I have chosen you. Because you are righteous. And he said he was going to bring a flood and that it would rain. I did not know what rain was. And he asked me to build an ark, a ship, the largest ship that had ever been built. So I planted trees. You have to have something to build a ship. My sons were born when I was 500. Shem and Ham and Japheth. When they were old enough, they began to help me. And I began to warn the people. Elohim is going to destroy us because of our evil. He's going to send rain because of our evil. He's going to bring a flood upon the earth because of our evil. And every day I shared this truth, this story, this message, this word. And we began to lay the keel and we began to shape the boards. Every board had to be shaped by hand. People would come. And I would tell them why I am building this ship, this ark, this salvation. And they would laugh. And they would mock. And still we built. Still we shared the judgment of Elohim. The ark was to have 3 decks. There were dens, burrows that we built within the ark for the animals, 2 of each kind, 7 of the clean animals, each of the clean animals. I'm glad there were only 2 felines. Two canines, 2 pachyderms. And Elohim brought them. The birds, the animals. And still we built. And the ark grew larger. There was a window in the top and 1 door in the side. I built it as Yahweh had instructed. I built it to what he told me to do. And people still came. 75 years we built the ark. "75 years of telling people that judgment is coming. 75 years of making sacrifice of which they took no part. When I was 600, Yahweh said, "It is time." Elohim said, "Go into the ark, and I will shut the door." And so we went. 8 of us. My sons and their wives, my wife. All of the animals, thousands. All of their food, all of their water, everything they would need, everything we would need. For how long, we did not know. Seeds for the future, vines for the future, plants for the future. And Elohim shut the door. Rain began to come. We were frightened. We had never heard such a thing before. The fountains of the deep broke open. The rain became a torrent, roaring water. And the people, they became frightened. They began to Elohim had shut the door. You could hear them. Above the sound of the rain. The screams, the cries. Fists beating upon the sides of the ship. Fingernails scraping. And the ark lifted out of the supports and began to float. And your mind begins to work. You see people clinging to the logs that we had left over. You see in your mind people running to the high places. You see people clinging to the outside. "40 days and 40 nights it rained. "40 days and 40 nights we fed the animals. We fed ourselves. We ate and slept and moved and worked. God sent the wind. The ship tossed. Time passed. I sent out a raven. I sent out a dove. One day he returned with olive branch. A year we were on the ship. A year we fed the animals and cleaned up after them and watered them. And as the water began to recede, the ship settled on a mountain. I did not know what to expect. I believed what Elohim had said, that the water would be "15 cubits above the highest mountain." The day came, and the door was opened, and we went out. The animals, a year older. And like you, we thanked Elohim. But every person I had ever seen, every person who laughed, every person who mocked, every person who murdered, every person who stole, every person whose life was evil and would not take the salvation of Elohim was gone. Can you understand that? If you woke up in the morning and only your family was alive, and there were no bodies, no evidence that anyone else had ever been on the earth, 8 souls. Does evil have a limit? Yes. And when Elohim says enough, he will always have an ark. He brought a rainbow. It was in the sky. And he said, "This is my promise to you, that I will never destroy the earth again by flood." And so there we were. We planted for food. We had animals for sacrifice. We have an altar for worship. But we brought the evil with us. It is within us. I planted a vineyard. I grew grapes. I made wine. I became drunk. Because we question, why did I live and all of these others not? Why did you create the earth and then destroy all the people in it except for us. Why did they not listen? Why do we not listen? But with all of the evil, there will always be good. Because Elohim is good. Because he is light. Because there is no darkness in him. Because he will always have an ark. There will always be a way of salvation. And I am thankful that he chose me, used me, and that you are my children. If you could be silent, our brother will come.
I was thinking whenever he was given his presentation or his life, Matthew 24, 37 through 39 says this, "But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark." Verse 39, "And knew not until the flood came and took them all away, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be." I was thinking whenever he was going through all the people that he had preached to. I believe he said 75 years of building the ark. That wasn't the whole time it was before then when God actually told him. There was time of prep. There was time of getting supplies. There was time of all like that. And I've heard and been told 112 years. I don't know. It was a long time. But what he did do was he preached for that long. He was telling people, and they were calling him crazy. You done lost your mind. What are you doing? You're stupid. Wasting all your time, your money, and energy building this boat for what? The flood's coming. What flood? There's no water. We've never seen rain. What is this rain that you're talking about? All this stuff. You think, we look back on it now, and we think, man, they were stupid for not getting in. But guess what? That's the generation we're in now. A flood's not coming again. He promised that. But there's fire that's coming. The wrath of God is going to be unleashed on this earth. And it's going to come out so strong and so hard, it's going to destroy everything. You say, "Pastor, you're crazy." You're one of them people outside the boat right now. He has made a way of salvation. That's the reason when I read Revelation, when I read about what's to come, I rejoice. Because I know while tribulation is happening here, I'm eating at the marriage supper of the Lamb. I'm seeing my Heavenly Father for the first time. I'm seeing my Lord and Savior for the first time. We're going to be judged on our deeds, whether they were for Him or for us. And then we're going to be given crowns. And what are we going to do with those crowns? We're going to lay them right back at His feet. All that's going on while tribulation's taking part down here. So my question is to you, are you in the boat? Are you saved? Do you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you're saved? I mentioned this morning, you can be 99.9% sure that you're saved and be 100% lost. And I don't know why I say that quite often, probably because it resonated with me. Because there was that little bit of thought in my mind, are you really saved? And then I would think, man, I've been in church all my life. I was drugged Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, youth, revival, and whenever else Mom and Dad wanted to drag me there, we were there. I heard many messages. We were in camp meetings together. It was all of it. We got it all. Sunday school. Lord help, you didn't miss Sunday school. I had a knowledge of God, but I didn't know Him in my heart. And a guy said this, you can be 99.9% sure that you're saved and 100% lost. And that hit me. Because from that moment on, I started thinking, Lord, I question sometimes. But when I gave my heart and life to Him, I have not questioned it, not once. Why? Because He's a God that gives you peace that passeth all understanding. So again, I ask you tonight, do you know Him? While every head is bowed, I just want you to be honest with yourself. Seek your heart out. Nobody's looking around, just me. I want you to examine your life. And if you feel that you do not have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, I want you to please raise your hand. Again, all eyes closed and heads bowed, please. If you're here tonight and you do not know, if God came back right now without warning, just